We're live. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday.
Yay! Memorial Day weekend. Woo, woo.
Yes, definitely. I'm Kimberly Scott, and this is,
Jill Armijo.
and we're here for another Do As We Do live. We thank everyone for joining us today. We're super excited to have our guest on with us, chatting a little bit about shower time shenanigans. Mr. Carlos, let me see if I don't mess this one. Olivas, right? I hope I don't mess that up. I feel
Very
like
good.
I did a good job,
Good
right?
job, Kim.
Yeah, so we're going to talk to Carlos a little bit. He's a native Californian. He was born in Yuba City and raised in Sacramento. Actually, I have family in the Sacramento area. And he's going to share a little bit about his world and him and his dad, his journey, his caregiving journey, um, especially around shower time.
Which is an adventure for
Yes,
many
it
of us.
is. 100%. So just remember, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Jill's YouTube, Do As We Do's Twitter, and I think and now LinkedIn because I shared it to the Do As We Do LinkedIn. So wherever you're watching it from, please let us know. And if you have a question for Carlos or Jill or myself, please leave in the comments. Or if
Or
you
a
have
suggestion.
yes or suggestion, you have a shower time suggestion, please. We want to know definitely because yeah, it's always helpful.
Yeah, you always learn something.
Oh yes, 100%. So without further ado, we will bring on our guest, Carlos. Hi,
Hi,
Carlos.
Carlos.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Good to have you.
Good to be here.
We
Um,
appreciate you jumping on with us. Um, Tell our audience a little bit about yourself and high level, and then, we'll take it from there.
well, my name is Carlos, like the label says down there at the bottom. Um, I live in Sacramento, and I'm the primary caregiver for my dad living with geriatric Alzheimer's dementia. He was diagnosed in 2017, but in 2016, we received a phone call from my dad's dentist, and they said, we have some concerns. And then from there, uh, we made a decision for me to move back home with my dad to start supervising his health.
Why your
And
dentist? Why his dentist? That's very strange. I have to ask.
the dentist saw some health concerns.
Mm.
There was a hint of body odor. He was missing appointments
Ah.
and he was getting lost coming to the office.
Mm.
So those were, oh, and he also had some gum disease that
Okay.
was, encroaching. So all these were starting to add up as a symptom
Mhm.
of something that needed to be relayed to a family member.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was the emergency contact on my dad's records,
Uh huh.
and it was very surprising for me.
I'm.
You get,
Yeah.
some nice lady saying, "Hey, I'm your dad's hygienist, and we need to have a talk. You're his emergency contact." And I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Your
Okay.
dad's all right, but here's here's the observations."
Yeah.
And those were severe enough for me to like go into shock for once, like, oh no, something's going on with dad.
Yeah. Especially when someone else that sees him, right? Like that's calling you, going, "Hey, this is concerning." Especially the getting lost part is a one of the like I feel early signs for a lot of people.
And that
Yeah.
was awesome that that
Yeah.
medical provider was,
Yes.
willing to, go the extra mile and give you a call.
Yeah,
100.
it was I feel very grateful that they were able to say, we have concerns about it. And they pride themselves on being that type of provider
Mhm.
Hmm.
that can, assist families when there is a change in one's behavior, uh, in their moods and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I felt that was very, very sweet of them. to really
Yeah.
look after my dad.
Well,
Uh, and,
yeah,
and and we appreciate them every time we go in there,
that's
because
awesome.
I ended up establishing a more of a routine uh, cleaning, just to kind of make sure everything's staying up to par. And
Hmm.
we've established a little oral routine, which is, I get some resistance still, but we're having some improvements.
Yes. So you moved in with them, and then what? What happened?
I began the roller coaster ride of caregiving.
Yeah.
It was the up and downs, the
Hmm.
misunderstandings, the frustrations, the anguish, the resentment, uh, the childhood traumas, everything in the book. It was
Yeah.
just, it was a lot.
How did he
And
take
then
it?
how'd he take it?
Yeah, you
Me moving
moving in with.
that? Oh yeah, I was freeloading.
Oh,
I'm the freeloader. Moving back home.
mm.
You know, and
My dad
I'm
told
just,
me, go get a real job.
yeah. I mean, just like, oh, you need to shave, or it's like, you always being critical of everything.
Yeah.
My driving, or this, or uh, leaving lights on
Oh,
that, it's like I didn't leave the light on, and then trying to convey to him, it's like it was you, or
yeah.
these actions were a result of him, and he wasn't recalling those. So
Mm.
it was kind of difficult. And I
Kind
came
of.
to a point, yeah, I came to a point where I was feeling hopeless, uh, depressed, and very, very down on myself because of challenging behaviors that I
Hmm.
couldn't, I wasn't able to cope with on my own personal, uh, my personal self. It was just hard.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. A lot of caregivers in those early stages feel like their loved one is manipulating them or lying to them or, mistreating them.
Hmm. We're
Even
doing it
though
on purpose, trying to
they're,
do things on
yeah, they're
purpose.
not doing it on purpose. They're not trying to mistreat you. It just feels like it because they're
Hmm.
just like attacking you, and
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
I
it's
I
tough.
think I think we all go through some form of that, right? That cycle of disbelief, or what did I call it? Like, just still in why can't I think of the word? Just not, it's not shock necessarily. There's shock, but then there's denial, right? You go through your phase as the caregiver yourself, denial, and then denial from the family. In my case, it was, getting everyone else to get on the same page was a hard
Well,
thing as well.
yeah, it can be so confusing because different family members will see different sides of the person in those early
Yes.
stages. Sometimes they're acting totally normal, and sometimes it's obvious that there's a problem. And so, if they act one way with somebody and another way with another family member, or at different times they act different ways, then it can be really confusing. And people will be like, no, that's not how it is. And this is what I see. And the other person's like, well, I see something totally opposite. And
Hmm.
so yeah, lots
Yeah.
of trouble.
Yep. So
Yeah.
what happened, Carlos, after you established that you're not a freeloader, that you were coming to help him, then what? What was
Well,
next?
that took a little while to build up that trust.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it was because of my initiative calling the helpline with the Alzheimer's Association,
Good
and
job.
getting some resources,
Hmm.
finding someone to talk to actually, and then getting into a caregiver support group, attending some workshops, uh, being referred to some books, and then that started the snowball of really getting in depth to finding out more about this disease and how to promote myself as a better human through self-care.
Hmm.
And this self-care is something we take for granted, some of us. It's like, hey, let's go for a walk, let's air it out. Let's journal and stuff like that. That's all kind of talked about a lot.
Yeah.
uh, but when you're a caregiver, some of that just kind of fades away,
Or
and
you
you
feel
have to.
guilty. You feel guilty even just taking 30 minutes to take a walk or to take a shower.
Or
Absolutely.
to write something down in your journal that
Yeah.
maybe paints somebody in a bad light, like not only your loved one, but maybe a family member that, doesn't understand or whatever. It's kind of hard. I know when my husband, so my husband has schizophrenia, so that's not like why I'm this person. My dad has Parkinson's, and I'm a physical therapist, so I've known a gazillion people with dementia and worked with a lot of people with Alzheimer's. But anyway, when my husband first got sick with his delusions and stuff, now I don't even remember my point. I was trying to, what were we just talking about? Such a goof.
Self-care.
Self-care. Yeah, I just did not want to write in my journal about these horrible things that he was doing, like these weird things, like these crazy delusions. And so it took me a while. I just kept writing in my journal about all the pleasant things, and the kids are growing, and this is so cute, and that's so fun, and we did this neat thing, and all of these things. And it took me a long time to figure out that it was okay to write in my journal about unpleasant things that Joe was doing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I agree. And you don't mind if I like pause for a second, because this week I had to write in my journal about the events in Texas, because I can't share it with my dad.
Right. Yeah.
I have to have a little bit of an outlet, and it triggers me because my mom was an educator, and one of the teachers shielded some students, and I feel my mom would have did the same thing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
So, I lived through her. She's like one of my main supporters.
That's awesome.
She's been gone since 2008, but I believe that she's with me all the time, supporting me through this journey, and really guiding me to serve my dad.
Yeah, she loves him too, and so she's going to be, part of your success and helping him.
Yeah.
Well, she was a great mother for raising a son like you that steps up.
Yeah.
And it's my hat goes off to you. So you are an amazing son. I always have to tell people that it's we all know how hard it is. So when did your dad start to because you said something about the odor, at the dentist, but was that also having to do with bathing odor, or was that just, explain that?
That's funny. It's funny you bring that up. So when I came on the scene, I started noticing odor as well. And I was like, well, he's taking a shower every day. Well, he was putting on the same clothes over and over again.
Oh.
So after, a couple of days, he's, wearing the same clothes, you're going to build up some odor. So, I would kindly just say, maybe you should change your shirt. Did you put deodorant on? It's like you're starting to smell like me. It's just like I was out there working in the yard or something.
Yeah.
And he would say, no, I'm fine. And we kind of figured out that my dad couldn't smell. He couldn't smell himself. He couldn't smell that he was burning something on the stove. There was a number of things that were kind of happening that I was trying to figure out. A lot of it was denial of maybe, because I know my dad could able to do things around the house, but he wasn't doing it. And then this putting on the same clothes was just boggling to me.
Yeah.
So I ended up sneaking into his room, swapping out his pants, his shirts, making sure that he was fresh.
Yeah.
It wasn't until, we ended up coming into the pandemic. And it was August 31st. August 31st, Dad just stops taking a shower.
Wow.
And from then on, there was a lot of anguish. There was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of heartache, tears. I tried everything to get my dad to the shower. For 8 months, it was a pain in the ass.
Oh, okay. But he did shower, right? Wait a minute. He did not shower for 8 months, but...
Well, there was about 13 showers within those 8 months.
Wow.
And there was a lot of embarrassment because
Yeah.
I didn't want family to come over or other people to kind of see him the way he was because he
Hmm.
wasn't. It wasn't just showering. It was hygiene too. He
Yeah.
wasn't
And you feel like,
shaving. We weren't getting haircuts because no one
Yeah.
was getting haircuts.
Yeah.
So I would take him out in the back and give him a buzz.
Hmm.
And then at one time I said, well, I need a haircut too. So he gave me a buzz.
Ah.
We got the clippers out and trimmed up my hair, and he did an excellent job.
I bet.
Well, as best as he could. I mean, it
Yeah.
was,
So you
it
got to go
was,
in and clean it
it
up.
was a challenge. I mean, at least
Yeah.
it's a memory that we built together.
Yeah.
For sure. I
Um,
do know that, like, when my mom was diagnosed, that she would go into the motion like she was doing something, and then she would just forget, like, to wash the clothes, right? Like, or she would think that, oh, I only wore this once. I can still use it later, right? And so we had to start monitoring laundry like that. But the showering part, it became scarier for her over time, right? What happened with how did you get your dad to, you know, shower? Like, what did you try? Like, what tricks?
uh, well, one trick was to give him a haircut because
Hmm.
after that, he would have, residue hair on him,
Yeah.
and that he would usually get into the shower right after that. It was
Hmm.
happening throughout the beginning of the pandemic. I was giving him a haircut, and he'd say, "Oh, I'm gonna go rinse off. I'm getting kind of itchy." I'm like, "Okay, great." Or I would say, You're going over to your girlfriend's house,
Ah.
and it's like you need to, you know, we're gonna get you dressed up. You're gonna go have dinner."
Yeah.
He would either say, "Yeah, I've already taken a shower. I took one last night. I'll take one tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't need one. I don't smell." Uh, what else? Uh, it's like
I
we're
remember
having a
when you first got in touch with me, Carlos, you told me about telling him, "Let's go get a donut. We'll go get a donut as soon as we get a shower," or something like that. Did
yeah,
you do you remember talking to me about that?
yeah. I
He
was
loves
working
to
up to
go get a
that.
donut.
That donut thing is a childhood memory of his
Uh-huh.
because the donut shop was there when he go visit his dad. He worked in a bakery. Um,
Oh.
and then when me and my dad, well, I had a paper route when I was younger, and on Sundays there was a bigger load of papers, and he would help me.
Hmm.
And then after that, we would go get a donut at this donut shop.
Hmm.
Our favorite donut is Maple Bar.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Cool.
So throughout this 8 months, I was baiting him with a donut. Why don't you get into the shower? Let's go get a donut. And at different times, throughout the day or something, I was trying all these strategies that was learning about from
Hmm.
support groups or even reading books or podcasts. And
Trial and error is definitely what I feel everybody does, no matter what it is, when it comes
yeah,
to loved ones with dementia.
And once then you finally hit on something that works, and then they start to slide into a little bit further, progression of the disease, and then you're like, well, now what?
Yeah.
yeah. And it was just one day on May 16th of 2021. I knocked on the door. It was about 45 minutes earlier than normal.
Uh-huh.
And, he was still kind of in a sleepy mode. And I walk in. I said, "Hey, Dad, you want to go get a donut?" And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, let's go get in the shower." He's like, "Okay." And then that was it. He goes, gets up, puts on his bathrobe, and heads up to the shower. And I'm, I look in the mirror. I'm like going, "What just happened?" It was so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll take a shower." I'm like it was just a normal routine for him.
Uh-huh.
So I followed up a few days later. He gave me some pushback. "I took a shower last night." And I said, "Whoa, you told me to remind you to get
Mm.
into the shower." And he's like, "Oh, I did, huh? Yeah, we were just talking about that." It's like, "Yeah, we were." So off to the shower he goes again.
Yeah.
And I was able to, swap out clothes and
Mm-hmm.
when he's in the shower, I'm able to get stuff, swapped out, get him freshened up. Um, and then from then on, I just kept on expanding upon it, trying different things, like saying, "Hey, I'm about to make breakfast. I got coffee brewing. Let's go. Let's get in the shower." And then there's times where he would say, "Can you hand me my pants and my shirt so I can get dressed?" And I would just respond with, "You told me to remind you to take a shower." And he's like,
Yeah.
"You did?" I go, "Yeah, it's Thursday or Friday or whatever day it was at the time."
Mm-hmm.
And I go, "It's that time of the month." He was like, "Oh yeah," we chuckle about it. We have to throw some humor into it, because once he
Yeah.
starts laughing about it,
And he's
he's
got a
like,
sense of humor, that guy.
"Yeah." So it varied from day to day.
Yeah.
And there'd be times where I'd spend about 20 minutes, 30 minutes listening to stories from his past and get to reminisce about him with
Mm-hmm.
him. And then it developed into, just a regular routine. And we were able to kind of interact together, utilizing some comedy, some compassionate communication, and the kind of therapeutic commands to
Mm-hmm.
get him into the shower.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little
It's
therapeutic fibbing there.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
their
Remind you.
perception is their reality, right? I had
Yeah.
to learn that really. I mean, it was because my mom and I are very similar in personalities,
Mhm.
so we're the strong women in our family. So when I stopped fighting that part of it and just like I would do the same thing, you're going to go see your boyfriend, right, this weekend, or you just played tennis this morning, you got to shower, like those were the automatic triggers that she always was like, okay, you're right. Oh yeah. Or I would say, you told me to remind you, so that like,
That's a really great idea, because that makes it seem like it's their idea instead
correct.
of
One.
I'm
Yes.
telling you to do this thing and
Mm-hmm.
treating
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
like
and
a
that's
child.
and that's what I've been leading with. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
just told me this action and to
Yeah.
remind you about it. And then I would
Yeah.
kind of confuse I'd make it sound like I'm doing a Laurel and Hardy kind of routine. It was like, "Well, you told me to tell you to remind you to tell me," and it would just go back and forth. And he just kind of like start looking at me like, "Okay, dumb shit, I get it." And then he's like, and we have a good laugh about it.
Yeah.
And then I'll just say, "Hurry up, let's go. We want to catch the donuts before they're
Mm-hmm.
all gone." And he'd be like, "Okay, all right." So then once he's off into the shower, it's
He's good.
it's golden, and
Yeah.
then it's a win. So this May 16th of 2022, I celebrated 1 year of consistent bi-weekly showers.
Woo! That's
Yes,
huge.
that's and I'm still feeling very grateful that I was able to find something that worked.
Yeah.
I never gave up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I kind of really was persistent, determined, and disciplined about it.
Yeah.
It's just being there present. If I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
here present, in this environment, he probably wouldn't have succeeded.
Yeah.
And it's helping him succeed and have this dignified life that I can be proud of.
Yeah.
And
And
he can
dignified
also
is
be
the key.
yeah. Yeah, and it's and I've encouraged myself to evolve and expand. So we go get grooming, we go get stretched out, massages, pedicures, all these things that kind of reinforce this whole idea of the shower routine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got to take care of ourselves. And
Yeah. And you throwing in that humor factor, right? If you can, like my mom's the same way. Humor definitely helps us both. And when I don't push on her in the like, and I make sure that like in the moment that I can feel her being like, I'm still your mother. She doesn't say it right anymore, but like, don't tell me what to do type of thing. That's when I ease back and start to be like, you told me, or I make some sort of joke, because it's definitely a personality trait that is always, her motherly instinct doesn't go away. um, so I have to be respectful of that, even though now I'm the mother, right? I'm mothering my mother. So I definitely try to be mindful so that I don't do something to upset her, right? So it's
And I've I've kind of been up against the same type of thing as a physical therapist for all these years. I've had to go in and tell my patients that it was time for a shower, or let's get dressed, or it's time for breakfast or whatever. And especially the men, but they don't they don't really like a little random girl from they don't know where coming in and telling them what to do. So I've had to learn lots of ways to, make it seem like it's their idea. Um, Eventually, sometimes we talked for 15 minutes before they ever ended up in the shower, but
you figured it out, right?
you got to figure it out. Or sometimes you just have to drop it and go back another day and try it. And just,
Yes.
and of course,
And
then we have to chart that they refused the shower, and we don't want to make them look bad. So then we make up, they didn't feel good today or whatever. And so we're going to do the shower tomorrow, or we'll have the CNA go in and give them a pretend shower. They have shower caps that have, I guess, dry soap. I don't even know what it is, but they can shower people and then give them a bed bath, just at least clean their underarms or whatever with washcloths, the disposable cloths that are really soft and stuff. So we figure out ways of helping them maintain their dignity, but at the same time getting them cleaned up and so they don't stink up the place. And it's really common for people with Alzheimer's or other kinds of dementia to lose their sensations. It's all part of their neurology. And so they lose their sense of taste, and all the food tastes like cardboard eventually. And they do lose their sense of smell. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. They can't tell they're stinky.
Yeah.
But Carlos, I wanted you to tell about the video that you posted just a few weeks ago about your dad deciding to take a shower on his own because he.
Wait, don't give it away. He had something hanging.
Oh boy, I had just noticed that my dad was going to get ready to go in the shower. He might have said something, and I wanted to kind of highlight our dementia clock because it's kind of, it's a key useful tool for us.
Wait a minute, you have a dementia clock?
I have a dementia clock. Yes, it's big.
Okay.
Big letters or big numbers, and it has the month, date, year. So it's very flexible.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah. So I kind of did that, and I hear him come down the hallway, and I put the camera on him, and I ask him, where is he going? He's like, well, I'm going to go take a shower. And I could tell he was kind of moody, and I just kind of followed up with him. I was like, so what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm going to take a shower because I might have some dingleberries hanging out. So I was like, oh, it's kind of like, that
got that on
kind
film.
Of, that kind of term is kind of like something that we've known all our lives. That's, we have to take a bath so we can wash off
everything.
Those dingleberries. It's like, okay, yeah, all right. So, and he just kind of elaborated with it, and he just kind of went with it. And I was like, okay, he's on camera. I'm not sure if he really understands that he's on camera, but he's like, yeah, this is what's happening. This is what I'm doing. And it just came out comical.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of
adorable.
being in this moment, being present. Because I can capture these moments where he is just a ham.
Yeah.
We were at the doctor's appointment last week, and the doctor was like, I think I need some oxygen or
he was
something.
dying laughing.
We were just having a great time. And Dad's just being a clown. He's trying to do all these, assessments for like Parkinson's and stuff. But, my dad's just, giving him the finger or doing, weird kind of motions. And it's just like, oh, Dad, it's like, you are just be serious.
My mom likes to flip people off too, but she
Oh.
does this. She likes to touch her nose and then put down all her fingers, and then right?
Yeah.
Or she'll cover one side like this and do like this, so it's like you can't see her, but you can, right? It's usually to me when I'm trying to tell her to do something, or to a family member that she doesn't like them telling her what to do. But yeah, it's funny.
She's a character.
So
Yeah.
that is that's hilarious. Have you gotten the shower time? Is it like you said you celebrated, a regular shower? What, like, is it constantly something different still, or is there one thing that's really working now?
What works is a Wednesday and a Saturday shower
Mm,
time.
got it.
Saturdays is the donut time.
Mhm,
Wednesdays is just regular shower times.
mhm.
The other day, I was up getting ready to take a shower because I'll warm up the shower. I'll make sure that everything's laid out, ready for him to go. Making sure that the handle, I have like a safety handle on the wall, and just making sure everything's cleaned up, ready for him to kind of just get in there and the water's right
Yeah.
and good. So I just finished shaving, and then I hear somebody coming up the stairs, and it's my dad. I said, "What you doing?" I came up to get my shower, and it's early. I'm like, "Oh, okay." So
That's a win.
I feel that there's a little bit of muscle memory
Yeah.
because there's times where he's like, "I'm taking a shower. It's that
Mhm,
time of the week," and
mhm.
he's like responding to that. And
Yeah.
I feel that may evolve, but it's taken a year to kind of get that into motion. But it's starting to. I feel like it's starting to work.
Yeah.
I feel successful. This morning he got into the shower on his own without any prompting. I was
Wow.
Yeah.
like, okay, all right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And those are wins because I can kind of relax and say, he's taking a shower again
Mhm.
today.
Yeah.
Outside of the routines. I'll
Yeah.
still continue the routines, but all the other little ones, those little showers are just an extra win for me.
Yeah. It's definitely something that should be celebrated, and people should understand, to be patient with themselves, right? Because everybody is going to go through it, unfortunately, at some point. And you just kind of have to roll with it and just keep figuring it out. And as the disease progresses, you definitely are going to have to try new things, 100%. So, um, Laura, thank you. So this is one of the funniest ones ever.
Ever full of feel good stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks,
Um,
Sarah.
thank you, Laura. Yes, it is. I do have all the folks that I have talked to over time have definitely, showering is a thing that, doesn't matter if they were super, clean freaks. Like my mom, was always, she'd shower, if not twice a day, definitely every single day, but it slowly decreases because of their fear, either the fear of the water or the fear of getting in and out of the bathtub, or, whatever it is. And, who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows,
My
right?
dad's going through that right now. He's always had a shower every day, and if he works in the garden or if he, does something really physical, he'll take another shower.
Hmm.
And he's not working in any gardens right now. Like he can't do very much of anything. He's doing good to, walk down the hall to the bathroom, but he doesn't want to have a shower every day. He's down to every other day, and my mom's like, he really needs a shower every day. So it's a
Yeah,
little
Yeah.
sketchy.
Yeah,
definitely.
my dad was he was in the Navy, so
Mhm.
it was the three S's, for him, just
Yes.
shower and shave, and
Yeah.
just, that was the routine,
Get her done. Yep.
yeah, just that was the routine, and that was every day, and he would be the first person up in the household, getting that done, and then waking us up to getting us rolling
Yeah.
throughout the day, throughout the morning. So it's definitely, there's a lot of, I guess, emotional attachments to where he's at.
Hmm.
Um, I know that the safety thing and fear, going into the shower, I think might have played a role. Some
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
way or another, he might have had this fear of getting into the shower.
Mm-hmm.
So once I installed the safety grab bars,
Mm-hmm.
he was like feeling very comfortable about that. He would say, "Well, this is sturdy. I like that." And he's given me compliments about that.
He felt
Yeah.
more
And it's
secure.
like, okay, um, is it is it because you're taking more showers that you're feeling comfortable, or what's going on? And we don't know. He
Yeah.
doesn't convey himself that way.
Yeah. We won't ever know. I mean, everybody's going to be, you don't ever know, right? You can guess all you want, but at least he's safe, and he's clean, and he's, your wins are amazing. All the things that you're doing is definitely something that, the fact that you said that you didn't want him to be seen like that, because that that's who, that him not showing was not who he really is, as that was not his old self. So you definitely, I know that feeling where you want your loved one to look and smell and be as presentable as possible for anybody that they meet, or family members, or whatever it is, because it's the other people that don't understand that, right? And then that experience with your loved one, just it makes it uncomfortable for everyone. So even though
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're oblivious to it. So
all
100%.
that all that personal care and hygiene is just one really important way that we can continue to honor our parents clear up
Yeah.
until they pass, and that we can help them to have the dignity of other people feeling comfortable
Mm-hmm.
in their presence, their friends and family members who remember him a certain way. And whether they realize it or not, it's comforting for them to be able to be, around him and
Mm-hmm.
not have to worry that
Mm-hmm.
he's not being cared for or whatever.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Well,
think it's kind of like key to kind of hone in on certain things that maybe that he's had a routine with, like
mhm.
having the aftershave that he would always use after taking a shower. You know he's always accustomed to having Old Spice on hand, and so I ended up buying him Old Spice so he can put it
Aw,
on, make him
my
at
dad
least kind
wears
of
Old
feel
Spice.
good. Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
definitely. Well, Carlos, you're doing an amazing job, and we appreciate you for coming on here and sharing your story with us. We definitely would love to have you come back, and as things, like you mentioned, going to the doctor off camera, just finding out more about that process, because I do feel that we want to be respectful of people's time, but at the same time, I do feel there is a lot of people don't know what's all involved when you're trying to figure out a real diagnosis for, or, what type of dementia. I didn't even know that there was 100 different, that dementia is a symptom of 100 different other diseases until I started doing more research, and that there's even something called pseudo dementia that is caused by depression. And, you just don't know until you go get your brain scanned. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're willing to come back, we would love to have you back, and sharing, that story as well, because it is
absolutely. I would love to come back and talk about this journey and
awesome.
support caregivers
Mm-hmm.
uh, along the way, because they're the ones that are in the trenches doing all the hard work and
Yes.
going through all the anguish and emotional traumas.
Yeah.
So there's
And we can,
there's support for
yes.
that.
And we can also support by telling our stories and telling people to go talk to their parents or their loved ones if they have not already. If they are not, people think about this disease like, oh, it's never, one is never going to happen to me, or one, or second, I'm going to handle it when it happens. No, don't do that to your children. Carlos, you have children, correct?
Yeah, I have a
Have,
25-year-old daughter.
have you talked to your daughter about what you want done if something like this occurs with you?
We have had some vague conversations
Well,
about it,
that's
but
that's a start. It's a
there's
start.
conversations about it, and she's my number one supporter and
Aw.
of her grandfather. She
Oh,
understands the shower routine and
Mm-hmm.
has been able to adapt and get him to take a shower when I'm not available.
Yeah.
that's
Awesome.
fabulous. And she
That's
sees
awesome.
your example and she's going to
Mm-hmm.
be there for you if
Yeah.
anything like that ever happens to you. Here's hoping it
Yes.
doesn't, but
Yeah.
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 never know.
But still, it doesn't matter because studies have proven that we'll all need some sort of care the last 2 years of our life, even if we
Yeah.
don't, develop anything, if
Right.
nothing happens to us. So even just having those starting conversations with your daughter is awesome, but also having continuing conversations about, power of attorneys and things of that sort. So she's like, I was thrown into this when I was in my 30s, right? And I just wish I'd had more of those. I feel very lucky and fortunate. Like you, someone came to me and said, "Hey, there's something going on," and I listened, and we did a little intervention. But still, there was still so many crippling decisions that caused me to, because I didn't know what she wanted. Right? It caused so much anxiety and stress. Just even talking about it, it gets me all choked up because I don't want that for anybody else. I don't want anybody
Right.
else to have to go through the guessing game, because that's what you do when you don't have a conversation with your loved one, right? You guess
Yeah,
what they
exactly.
want.
And
So,
those are hard conversations to have.
Yeah,
My
they are.
dad had written out a advanced care directive,
mm-hmm,
and then once we signed him up for palliative care, he
uh-huh,
repeated the same advanced care directive wishes.
mm-hmm,
So those are hard conversations to hear.
yeah,
And I'm fortunate. It's fortunate that I was able to have my daughter listen in on those conversations as well, so
mm-hmm.
she understands what needs to be done.
That's
That's
awesome.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a start. That is 100% a start, because it is one of the hard there are so many people going through this that don't even think about it until it's too late, and we don't want that. Like, and boomers are already booming, right? Like it's 10,000 people are
Uh,
turning 65 every single day since 2011.
yeah, and it's just going to increase more and more. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
what 1 in 9 of those will have a dementia.
If not more. It changes. I see different stats all the time. So
Yeah,
it definitely is something that we need to be talking about now, not later. And it could be a lighthearted conversation, but that's the whole reason why I do as we do. Um, the nonprofit exists because we want to help unpaid family caregivers, like you and Jill, and we want people to also start having those conversations with their children, or if they don't have, like me, I don't have any kids, I'm already telling my nieces and my nephews and my best friend, this is what I want you to do. I have long-term care, and after that runs out, you need to do X, Y, and Z, right? Like, high level. You just need to say it out loud. If you don't even put it down on a piece of paper, yes, get if you can, but
yeah.
say what you want, right?
Yeah.
So, truly.
Well,
um
again, ladies, thank you for having me. I would love to come back. So,
we
Yeah.
appreciate
We'll
you.
get you back for some more adventures.
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
I'm pretty sure there'll be more stories about my dad.
Well, we love those. We'll love hearing all the others, but we truly appreciate you, and we appreciate everyone that stopped by. Thank you, Laura. We appreciate you joining us, and anyone who watches us on the replay, please leave your stories below. Leave your comments. Let us know where you watched on the replay as well. And until next Friday, we appreciate you all. And remember, it's not about if you die, but it's about if you live. Do your loved ones know what your plan is?
And we appreciate you, Kimberly.
Oh,
You're
thanks, Jill.
fabulous.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you do.
Bye, guys. Thank you all. Have a good one.
Yeah.